What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. So in this video, we're going to be talking about trade. We're going to talk about China and Argentina, bailouts, trade changes, and soybean farmers, and how they are quite pissed right now at our administration. So thank you very much for joining me. If you are new here, welcome to Clear Talk. If you'd like to check out videos from the rest of the channel, please do so. Consider subscribing, like, share, all that good stuff. If you'd like to check out videos from my other channels as well, JMDPLAY, Puzzling, that would be amazing. Subscribe to those as well. Like, share, all that good stuff on all the videos from all the channels, helping the algorithm to get videos to more people. Any help you give there, that would be amazing. And if you want to support in any kind of way, there are links there for support, whether it's ongoing or one-time stuff. If you want to become a part of JMD Nation, thank you. That would be amazing. Any support you give is very much appreciated. And if you are returning, you are freaking amazing. Thank you very much for coming back. Love you here. And so, all right, to this. So we know that, Trump's whole schnick is that he is the art of the deal. He started this tariff war with damn near the entire world. Every freaking major nation that we trade with, he started this tariff war, kind of similar to what he did in the first, although the first term it was mostly at China. But this time he decided China wasn't enough. He's going to take on every fucking one. So we had all the tariff stuff happen earlier, we brought out that big ass board and said, you get a tariff, you get a tariff, you get a tariff, spitting them out like he was candy. And everybody argued that this was going to hurt people. This was going to hurt the American people, going to drive up prices, going to hurt the economy. And he claimed that no, this is not going to hurt American people. No, this is all these countries, they are the ones that pay for this. We're not going to pay anything. This is going to make us money. And we've discussed all that. Well, in the wake of the tariff war, specifically with China, that one has been the biggest and baddest. And for a while there, the agreement was the 34%, which still largely affected trade with China. China has not accepted that very well, and they have cut off a lot of industry trade with the U.S. And then here, since they didn't want to come to any kind of major agreement, Trump is now throwing out back up again at 100% tariffs against China. It's just a whole thing. And the one big it's hurt the farming industry at large, but the one big industry that is majorly affected, and China completely cut off, was soybean. And so soybean farmers all across the U.S. are feeling the hit. China, somewhere around, I think, 52% of our soybean exports is to China. So that is a huge part of the market that is affected right now, where we have soybean farmers all over the country that have been, doing their due diligence that they do every season, and planting these crops, harvesting these crops, and preparing them to be ready to export, and to make their money. That this is their living, and this whole tariff war has completely shit on all that. China has cut off their trade to us on soybeans, and instead they are looking at Brazil and, of all places, Argentina. Brazil is the #1 soybean producer in the world. The U.S. is the #2, and #3 is Argentina, funny enough. So when they cut off from us, well, the next thing is Brazil and Argentina. Um, and so they are getting uh, the U.S. market is losing in that losing that uh, money, that trade that they have expected, and it's all going to these other countries. Um, and then on top of that, Argentina has a crazy arco-capitalist leadership over there that is in control, Malay, that President Trump, apparently adores and thinks that he's, amazing and going to, the argument behind him going to completely save Argentina has thrown Argentina into, an economical crisis there. It is actually had the opposite effect. Where markets have drowned, inflation is has been rampant. People, job loss and everything. I mean, it's just it has not been exactly the way that Malay dreamed, or that everybody that supported him um, thought was going to happen. They have been scrounging to multiple places around the world, countries to for bailouts. And what do you know? They came to Trump, and Trump, being his big buddy, is now decided to give them a bailout to Argentina. A somewhere in the number of like at least 20 billion that we are bailing out. And part of this bailout is a trade for beef. Since our beef prices are so high, this is his way of getting our beef prices down. Is that we will, a $20 billion bailout to help the Argentina economy, and try to get trade on beef with Argentina, so that we can possibly lower prices on beef. So Trump causes a tariff issue with China, ruins our trade agreement with China for our soybean farmers, allowing China to go to other countries like Brazil and Argentina to get that trade. And so Argentina gets, their soybean market is saved, and even, increases there because of that loss from us. Our farmers go in debt. Trump decides to bail out Argentina, helping them in their economy from an arco capitalist who is ruining the country. And then turns around, because we have lost now all connection with soybean to our biggest export country, and decides, you know what, while I'm giving Argentina a bailout, I'm also going to give you a bailout, farmers. I'm going to give you a $50 billion bailout. So apparently Trump's way of making a deal is ruining trade agreements, ruining economical, agreements that we have, and then just throwing money at this to solve it. Just throwing money, bailouts to solve issues. And this has infuriated farmers all across the United States, because bailouts do, while they help out, the problem that the trade agreement deal has been just completely broken because of the tariff war that he has created. That does not solve the underlying problem. Like, giving them a bailout does not solve the problem. They don't want bailouts. They want the trade. They want the market. They want to be able to keep this, keep their relationships that they have had, that they've built their life and their companies around. to be able to be sustainable for the future, to continue that agreement, to continue those relationships. And those relationships and agreements have been broken now. So bailing them out right now does not solve the problem. It doesn't do anything but put a Band-Aid over a problem at the moment. But what happens next? And that's the big question. What happens next? How are we going to solve this problem? Because now you've opened up market and you've saved, places like Argentina or Brazil. They've opened up more market to China. Who's to say that China will come back? Who's to say that they will ever come back? There's a possibility here now that the U.S. Farmers have completely lost that connection. So I have some farmers here that would like to make this argument for me. So here's someone.
If there were a bailout, right, which the president is apparently considering, what would that mean?
Well, the stopgap needs to come because they've kind of painted the farmer in a corner. I mean, I want trade, not aid. I need a market. I need a place to sell this stuff. I can work hard enough and make a product. If you give me some place to sell it, I'll take care of myself. But they've painted us in a corner with this China deal and China buying no soybeans. I mean, they've tore our market in half. I mean, if you take the 4 years prior to Trump's first tariff war, the average price of a bushel of soybeans is $12.54. The average price for the 4 years during Trump's first tariff war is $9.39. That's a $163 an acre swing to the minus. The next 4 years after the tariff war, the average price is $13.59. That's a $218 upswing. Now we're back to $10.21. I think the board is today. My local elevator's $9.79. So I'm at $172 an acre loss. I mean, the farmer can't continue to produce a crop below the cost of production, and that's where we're at. And we don't have anywhere to sell it. We're in a tariff war with China. We're in a tariff war with everybody else. I mean, where do they want me to market this stuff?
All right. And here's another.
Discouraging. We do our very best to grow a good crop to feed the world, and then we can't hardly give it away.
Bachmann blames President Trump for the soybean crisis, even though he voted for him. He says new tariffs are forcing China to buy soybeans from Argentina and Brazil. Now many Iowa farmers face selling this year's crop at a huge loss.
The way things are, there won't be a farmer left in 5 years if things don't change, because our expenses are so high and the crop is worth less than it was 30 years ago.
Bachmann survived the farm crisis during the 1980s. It led to thousands of farm foreclosures. If the federal government offers crop payments to help farmers, Bachmann says he'll say no thanks.
We would a lot rather have free markets than a handout.
Bachmann recently asked Iowa Senator Charles Grassley for help with those free markets.
I told him that the 1980s farm crisis is going to look like a picnic compared to today if things don't change and change fast.
I mean, they're saying it right out. They're saying it right out. They want the market. They don't want a bailout. Bailout is not going to save them. They want the market to be able to, not worry about the future, to keep their production going, to sell what they have done. They've worked hard for it. Now you're just basically bailing them out or trying to say, hey, here's some money just to stop farming. Like, what are they supposed to shift and change and do something completely different? Are you going to give them and open up them a different market? I mean, that's the problem, is breaking stuff. It's the same thing we've seen, when we're talking about the Doge issue, early on or whatever. Anything that or even, there is, when you just break stuff, and then put band-aids on it, but don't offer actual solutions. It's like the argument, well, eventually I'll figure out some way of fixing it, but I'm just not there yet. But here's something, it's breaking something without a plan for the consequences of breaking that thing. That's what the Trump administration. It's what they're doing. It's what it's what Trump's, apparently that's his art of the deal. Is break stuff and then just throw money at as a solution until he can just stumble across somehow trying to actually fix it, if he can. Or, maybe he just forgets about it and goes on to something else. And then you're left sitting here with nothing. Here's another one.
Well, we depend on the Chinese market. And the reason we depend so much on this market is China consumes 61% of soybeans produced worldwide. The rest of the world is 39%. Of the soybeans that American farmers produce, 25% currently have been going to China. And right now, we have 0 sold for this crop that's starting to be harvested right now. So it's a 5-alarm fire for our industry that 25% of our total sales is currently missing. And right now, we are not price competitive with Brazil due to the retaliatory tariffs that are in place. Our prices are about 20% higher, and that means that the Chinese are going elsewhere because they can find a better value.
And the prices are even higher now because that was at 34.
Soybean farmers and their families are suffering. There's 500,000 of us that produce soybeans, and we desperately need markets, and we need opportunity, and we need a level playing field so we can compete, because we grow a great product, but we have to be price competitive as well. And there's an artificial barrier that is built with these tariffs that makes us not be competitive.
So, again, we have, they're talking about, they want, the China markets where most of their production was exported. The rest of the world, China consumes 61%. The rest of the world only around 39%. A part of Trump's other solution back in July was that he was planning to open up the EU market for soybean, trying to. That was a part of the EU trade deal, that you were just opening up the market there, reducing tariffs on that, for them to sell soybeans and other things to the EU. Apparently, that is not making up much of a difference, if they are even able to sell, or if that deal, how that was even going to be implemented. I'm assuming that hasn't really worked itself out at this point yet. Because all these reports and stuff are recent, within the last month or so, talking about how they're struggling and losing money and have no market to sell to. So this is what the administration has created. And then again with the tariff bailout, with the Argentina bailout. So as this person here states, quick recap. Trump slaps tariffs on China. China refuses to buy our soybeans. Trump sends $20 billion to Argentina President Milei. Argentina discounts their soybeans that surge sales to China. Trump pays American soybean farmers $50 billion bailout. This is the art of the deal. My ass. And that's it. You have bailed out Argentina and helped to, which they turn around and discount their soybeans and everything, trying to solidify their market with China, which then is undercutting any market pricing that U.S. farmers could give, basically making it even harder for China to say, okay, well, at any point, here in the near future, to come back and be like, well, okay, we're not going to work with Argentina anymore. We'll come back to the U.S. I mean, you would have to somehow drive prices down or Argentina's market to fall, for them to have to raise prices above what the U.S. market can charge, in order to to give that incentive for China to come back to the U.S. And that's just not there. When Argentina can produce it for much less and sell it for much less than what we can. I mean, why would China come back? And that's kind of the whole deal there. You have this, can't stop thinking about when Elon spent $290 million on a Trump election, 170 billion richer since the election, and cheered, the Argentina president as Elon takes a chainsaw to Medicare and Social Security, all while Trump gives Argentina a $40 billion bailout, helping this maniac here. It's crazy. And here's where he's talking about the beef buying from Argentina, and we giving them a bailout. They sell soybeans to China. Our farmers get nothing and going bankrupt because of the tariff policies. Even Marjorie Taylor Greene finds this as a problem.
But what are we doing? We're buying out and doing a buyout with Argentina? Like, huh? $20 billion?
$20 billion.
Bailing them out?
Then he just did a concert. I don't know if you saw the president of Argentina was singing and dancing. Like, I mean, it's unbelievable. Again, a lot of people I know cannot afford to buy a house.
Yep.
They're not working. You recently said something, I think, about healthcare, which we'll talk about later on.
But what are we doing? We're buying out.
So, yeah. I mean, this is the sentiment that you're getting from farmers, confused, angry that the president has decided to bail out this country, who has, like I said, an arco-capitalist maniac who's tearing apart agencies and basically breaking the government there to the point of economical collapse. Not too far different from what Trump is sort of softball pitching here on a kind of a softer scale. And to the point that they have to ask for bailouts across the world to their buddies, what few people will, even consider it. And Trump, being one of them, gives them a $20 billion bailout, allowing them for their market to try to save itself, at the same time breaking a tariff deal and agreement with China, to the point that China breaks their deal with our soybean farmers, putting our soybean market at risk, going to Argentina for soybeans that they can get cheaper there now than they could for us, putting our farmers in jeopardy of losing their farms, losing their livelihood, just for Trump to then be like, oh, well, for me to fix this, let me give you a bailout. I'm just going to give you money. And this is from the party that argues that bailouts, you shouldn't just throw money at a problem. They argued against the COVID bailouts. Didn't want to give money to regular people to help them through the COVID time. They've done everything to cut all COVID incentives or structures that was helping people in the economical crisis that we were having through that. This is the same, and but they want to give our farmers a bailout after creating a crisis that put them in the situation that they're in. Then they want to give them a bailout, but not fix the crisis that they created in the first place. but we want to bail out a maniacal moron that's running the country and driving it into the ground. But also at the same time, as this one points out, Argentina needs a $40 billion, this $20 billion. So some people are saying 40. It's somewhere in between there. Venezuela seeks no bailout and is under crushing and brutal sanctions. Yet people will still tell you they know Argentina's system works and Venezuela's doesn't. Like, you could argue Venezuela's not seeking any bailouts, even though their economy is in shambles because of sanctions and stuff that we have placed on them. We're trying to start a war with them over drugs that all intelligence shows that is not coming from Venezuela, to try to do regime change down there. But Argentina, on the other hand, because there is a leader there that Trump finds amazing and thinks is, just this incredibly brilliant guy that's going to save the country while driving it into the ground, gives them a bailout. I mean, the joke sells itself. Like, again, this is Trump saving a rich buddy that's tanking what he's in control of, bailing him out, saving his ass, while threatening people that he doesn't like. War, whether it's actual hot war or tariff war, economic war, causing and collapsing agreements and deals that we have, putting our own citizens at risk, economical risk, livelihood risk. And his only solution is to just throw money at it. This is insanity. This is the art of the deal. This is how this man makes deals. He breaks things just to turn around and claim that he can fix them, and puts little Band-Aid fixes on them, but never actually fixes the problem. And those affected are just hung out to dry and having to figure out some way of saving themselves. So yeah, and these are people who voted for him. Some of these people, probably a lot of them, are people who voted for him. And now he has ruined their markets with his tariff war, because it's one of his favorite words in the dictionary, tariff. You can't make this shit up. This is the man who has driven himself to bankruptcy 6 times. And people thought putting him in office was going to save our country on some sort of economic scale where we and put us into the golden age that they claimed that they were going to do. While everything economically, our prices are up. Housing market is at its highest state ever, even higher than it was during the crisis of financial crisis of 2008. Wages are not up people are struggling more than they have in years. Farms potentially going to bail. And all the while, all the other problems like driving military into cities, grabbing people off the streets, handcuffing even American citizens in the crossfires of that mass deportation plan of theirs that has gotten out of control because there are racist, bigoted, insane people in charge of it. Let me know what you think. Until next time, peace, clear talk. I'm out.